way. You no longer exist, you're no longer in my
Welcome to AfterMat, your source for WWE pay-per-view recaps. I am your host, the People's Champ Cal, and alongside me, as always, I have my tag team partner, the Glamazon Delisha. What's going on, Delisha?
Hey. Another day, another recap.
I just saw like my level skyrocket because I know for some reason when I stream video games, my audio is low, but then when I go to this, it's high. So I'm talking at the same level. I always do the same kind of introductions. So I don't know. Like now I'm greenlining, but when I said welcome, I apologize for anybody I was too loud because I saw it was redlining. I'm like, oh crap. But I go by feedback to what you guys say, so hopefully it's okay for you. Welcome Slater, Bobby. How you doing? Welcome Sidewalk. How are you doing? Welcome as well. Thank you for the support. You haven't watched it yet? Well, yeah, I don't want to spoil anything for you. And but today we will be talking about Survivor Series 2022, aka War Games, the debut of War Games. So, debut of War Games on the WWE main roster, if you want to say. I'm not sure. Hold on, I lost Alicia's picture, so let me see if I can. How did I used to fix that? Did I disconnect and then connect it again? I think that's what I did. And there she is. Okay, yeah, I always have to disconnect. I forgot how I always used to get you back. It's been a while, but yeah, so we're talking about Survivor Series 2022, aka the debut of War Games on the main roster, if you want to call it, even though now NXT is sort of the main roster, but you know what I mean. So what you think, Delisha, overall of it as a show? I know we had some chat, like you watched it a day late, I think, I believe, but you had some chat going on today, I believe it was. Um, what you think?
Yeah. Just going in, I had high expectations for the card because like every match, uh, should be like a good time watching, so to speak. But yeah, overall, I think it delivered on the war games aspect, that's for sure. And even all the matches in between, they all had like good things you could say about it. So I'm actually really happy with
Did
it. Definitely
they though? We'll see when I get to it.
talk about it.
Yeah. What's funny. That what I want to say is that WrestleMania is usually the granddaddy of them all, as Vince McMahon coined. The biggest show of the year for them. All that kind of stuff, like the Super Bowl for them, whatever you want to say. But I think as long as if we've been doing Aftermath, Survivor Series has been getting like a very good rating for us in all the years. I don't know if you can't don't quote me on that. I mean, you can if you want to, but like I think for us, like it's always been a good show for us. Like we always give it like at least a B or higher. I'm not swaying our neighbor our voting today, but I feel like we've always given it a solid grade from all the years we've done Aftermath. It's always been probably the most consistently solid show, and that's what you'd expect for a big four. This is kind of like their season finale, if you think about it, or not really their
Hmm.
season finale, but like kind of like for the end of the year thing to before the new year starts. It's like their show. So I don't know how to word it, but I feel like it's always been a consistently decent show for us here on Aftermath. But I guess we'll get into that once we get into the matches. Anything else you want to say before we move into covering the matches?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of like their their gung ho show, like you said, in the year before we get truly into the road to WrestleMania.
Yeah, so it's kind of like if you go on a roller coaster, this is like the up part, and then it's gonna go down for a little bit, but then Royal Rumble, sorry, this little back up, and then we get to WrestleMania, and we're on to the next year. But yeah, that's how the best way to describe it. Like this is like the one hump before the drop, but hopefully they keep it consistent, and it's good. But we don't really have any more pay per views from now until then. That could be the drop that we're talking about. But we'll get to that at the end of the show. We kick off. There's no pre-show, so which is kind of odd because I mean, there's only 5 matches, and when I was talking about it, because there's only 5 matches on the card. That's kind of odd, but with them being War Games matches, you expect them to be a little bit longer. I think the women's War Games actually clocked in as the longest match of the night, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really?
Or tied the triple threat for the U.S. Championship. I'm not sure, but like it was probably the longest match of the night, I believe. Um, the women's War Games match. But yeah, there's no pre-show, so 5 matches, and we're gonna try to get this through as smoothly as possible. I don't know how Felicia's gonna cover the thing, but I'm just gonna briefly mention like order and stuff like that, and hide spots that. So we usually do matches like the ladder match, the Money in the Bank ladder matches and stuff like this. We don't like to go into every single like punch and kick and all that.
Yeah, pretty much because these. I mean, while the first 5 minutes is like one on one, after that it's just like it's chaos. And
Yeah,
then when you get into the I guess when the bell rings for the actual like match, it's like good luck. Just all
you're
you
right.
can do is take notes on like how it's. But we start off with the women's war games, which is pretty typical. If you ever watched the NXT war games, I can't speak for the ones from WCW because I've never watched those. So, but then again, they also didn't have women's war games, so I guess that kind of defeats the point. But yeah, we started with they usually book in the shows like that. Women start your regular matches, men's war games, yada yada yada. I'm pretty sure they all started this way. Yeah. Um, now I was like second guessing myself when I literally just watched the 2020 War Games match like 2 weeks ago. Anyway, but we start off with the World Women's Champion Bianca starting the match for her team, being the I guess being the leader of her team. I guess she figures she'd start off, and and I think she is the only one on her team who had War Games experience, so to speak. So that makes sense. Like if you're thinking like logically, strategically wise, why she would start. Starting off with Kai on the other side, and I think this was her and Eels, I believe, if not just Kai's her fourth War Games match. So she is a veteran in this type of uh, setting. And then they just, the typical one-on-one matches with Belair being strong and Kai coming in with like the kicks and everything. And then since Damage Control won the advantage that previous Raw, they will be the next one coming out, and it will be Kai's tag team partner, Io Sky, coming out to, of course, doing her acrobatics and like backflips and stuff like that. Excuse
Bless.
me. Thank you. Um, and then after that, we would have kind of almost like Sky's like rival now in this reiteration of Asuka coming out, and to where now it's like now 2-on-2 even matchup, and to where you would get Io and Asuka going back and forth. A lot of people, I mean, the commentators were kind of alluding to like their rivalry coming back from Japan. I guess in would this be? I don't know if that would be New Japan's like Stardom or whatever their women's like division, so to speak, is. But yeah, they were just alluding to that without outright like saying it. And then after that, we had Cross coming in, and she would be the one to introduce the weapons, bringing in, I believe it was kendo sticks and trash. Well, this trash can plus lids, um, which she would continually try to hit the other members of the team with, and then her rival, so to speak, will come out. Bliss, Alexa Bliss, that is, to come out to even up things up again to where I think at this point that's when Bianca snatched the kendo stick from Nikki and she tried to break it in half from the first knee contact, but it didn't quite go, so she had to continue to break it. I mean, it's still badass because I don't think I can break a kendo stick on my leg. I mean, I wouldn't try it right now,
Same.
especially in my condition right now. But I've never held a kendo stick, so I don't even know exactly how you know. Are they bamboo? Is that what they're supposed to be?
Yeah,
Bamboo?
supposed both but also their trash cans are supposed to be steel trash cans or whatever it's supposed to be, but they're
I know, and they bend like
not.
paper.
Yeah,
um, sorry, I lost track of my notes. Okay, and then Bailey, surprisingly to me, Bailey was the next one out. Um, where she brought a ladder into the ring, also kind of alluding to the backstory of like her and Bianca, and like their like feuds of like always having ladder matches and her continually not being able to get the pin over Bianca in those type of matches. So it's like a little minute like story details, and we see that in a couple once the official War Games match begin. And then last for their team coming out was Ripley to be in the more strong bruiser who's gonna like take everybody out. Excuse me.
Bless it.
Oh, sorry. I think Mia came out before her, and then Rhea, because Becky was the last one to come out. And I'm just gonna get into some of these high spots because after the official workings began, it was all kind of like I said, bedlam. We had I think yeah, it was Becky who placed the trash can over Io, over like near the edge of the cage, to where she would do like the leg drop. If you it was kind of like a reverse of alluding to when Io had one of the greatest high spots in the women's war games matches in NXT, where she put a trash can over her head at the top of the cage and then jumped off to I don't remember who she landed on, but it was like it's like a war game like highlight that a lot of people uh reference to when it comes to some of the like big war game match moments. So that was kind of alluding to that about EO with trash cans and war games. And then another big spot was Asuka spitting the green mist into Rhea's face to take her out of action for a little bit. It's actually a funny video afterwards of Rhea trying to still get it out of her face, and she's like, "What is she putting in this thing?" On like WWE.com or something like that. So I thought that was pretty funny and continuous storytelling. Um, there was I think they were trying to do like a big like Tower of Doom spot where where everyone's like up on the cage and then someone of the more powerful sword would come in trying to um like power bomb them. But I think it was Bianca who was attempting to do the like body thing, but Nikki came in with the kendo stick to like hit her across the chest or abs or something like that. Oh, sorry, my cat just snuck into the room. Um, and this was a very interesting spot. I'm not exactly sure what they were going for when Nikki like she shouts in Alexa's face like, "Hey, I think thought I forgot about our history." Then she brings out handcuffs, and I think she was attempting to handcuff Alexa to the rope to like keep her out of action, but Bliss winds up attaching the handcuff to Nikki so they're handcuffed together, and then she does I think it's like a was it an electric chair spot? I think that's what they call it. That's that move. But you ever
Yeah. What?
shows
Yeah.
it in like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and I guess and that supposedly was to take them out of action. And then Mia tried to do a sleeper hold onto Rhea, but Rhea would uh I guess slam them both into a ladder that was set up on the turnbuckle, taking those two out. And then it's just damage control and Becky and Bianca for trying to the last. Oh no, I don't know if you can hear Rose in the background crying. Geez. Okay, so it's fine. We're getting to the end of it anyway. But Belair will give Bailey a KOD onto the cage side, and then Lynch will climb up to the cage and then do her one leg drop. That is just yeah, leg drop onto Kai and Skye who were set up on the table, and getting them covered for the 3 count. To which, of course, Bianca's team is now the winner of War Games. And overall, I thought it was a pretty good match. There were some a little bit of like mishaps here and there, but especially we've talked about it way so often. When you have more than just one on one, there's bound to be some sort of mess up going, especially in a match like this where you have weapons, there's cages, there's 2 rings. It's everything's not gonna go to plan. But I think overall it was a pretty good match. There was like a little lull like kind of in the middle as people were still like coming out and they were still like getting their groove, especially when it was getting uneven of the number of people, not the match was of the number of people from each team coming in. But overall, I really did enjoy this match. I wasn't sure. I mean, I guess with Becky's big return, she has to get the big win, but also damage control is not doing much damage as a faction. And I'm not sure what it is, but they're just not like clicking with me. I don't know if it's the way that they're being booked, or if these three just don't really have the chemistry that I thought they would have coming out. It's been what about maybe 3 months or so since SummerSlam that they formed, and I really couldn't give you like a crowning moment for them yet. I know they're two-time women's champion, but okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to say maybe it's time for them to move away from Becky. I mean, from Bianca, but Becky just came back, and it's like, but Bailey wants the title, so who else is she going? They're going to feud with in the meantime. So, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with damage control, but overall, did you enjoy the actual War Games match? And are you excited for them to keep going with this on the Raw SmackDown roster versus it being on NXT?
Um, as in the War Games match, like like you do I like I yeah I want the War Games match to be like a perennial thing. Maybe every Survivor Series. I wouldn't mind seeing that. That's what you're asking. And as for the actual match itself, um, I enjoyed it. I mean, I think they did a really good job. The women did a really good job overall. It told some like minute stories here and there, like you said, like with the Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss thing, and like damage control against the Bliss and Asuka thing, Bailey and Becky, and all these little Mia Yim and Rhea Ripley, all these little stories that they told is great. I and yeah, the Tower of Doom was kind of like not that great, but other than that, it was a great match. Like, like other than that, I like the little stories. I like that. They did a great job. I think unfortunately the NXT one was better with the women this year. Like I think Cora Jade really stole the show in NXT. I don't really talk about NXT, but that was a crazy good. Like it's a very good like perseverant story for Cora Jade in that NXT War Games compared to like I didn't really see any of that. And like you said, I had no interest in damage control anymore. Like it's kind of stupid. Like the why did they lose the titles just win it back like a week later or whatever it was? Like it's just like not intriguing. I don't think any of the stories, honestly, in the women's division right now is intriguing, even on the SmackDown side as well. Becky versus Bailey's maybe that'd be cool, but Bailey versus Bianca would be even better. Which like it's even better. I mean, for the story wise, we've seen that, but I'm saying it's even better. But nothing's really intriguing me in the storylines for the women. I think maybe because the bloodline story is kind of like eclipsing everything. Maybe that's why it's so intriguing. Everyone's loving it. They're so enraptured by that. So maybe that's what it is. But nothing is like piquing my interest in the women's side of things at the moment. So that's why I didn't really have care for the little storylines. Like that was great, but like I don't really care much for it. I usually I love seeing the women's division, but I feel like everyone's like kind of in like limbo. That's what I feel like when it comes to the women division right now. So until we get like some more concrete stuff going, the match was great. I love the War Games match, but like I said, I think the women's NXT match was better. War Games match was better than this. I think also for the men's too. The men's War Game match. I can't remember what year it was, but when it must have been a while back because Adam Cole went through the well he took like the I took something off the top of the cage through a table. That was nuts. Like that, like whenever that happened, that was like better. I don't know if that was this past year or 2 years ago, probably 2 years ago. That was a cool thing when Adam Cole took like
I think. Oh yeah,
he took what's his
well,
face's move, Tommaso Ciampa's
until
move through the
yeah,
table.
until like 2020, they were in like every War Games match. I was like, which one?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can't remember which one it was because they've been
Yeah,
in
but
every.
yeah, that sounds like the one from I think 2019. Is that the one with KO? You talking? Is that
Yeah,
the
yeah,
one with?
probably, yeah.
Yeah, that was 2019.
Or so that was even 3 years ago. So like I think that was better than the Bloodline versus Brawling Brute match too. But like I think NXT's done it better, but I think because they have more to risk. They're kind of like they want to like show off. These got
Yeah,
the people on the main roster
and
here.
they've had more time to like perfect it, so to speak. Because
Yeah.
that first one, when they had like three teams of two, it was all right. Like they had good spots, but it's not one I go back and watch.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah. Um, yeah, it was all right. Like I said, there's no storylines that really I care for. That's pretty much it. Like nothing really. Like it was great action watching. I love watching War Games matches. I love watching traditional Survivor Series matches also. So that could have been just the same, but like the fact that it was War Games escalated it, which made it better. But the storylines are what what you care about and what I care about, it wasn't really doing anything for me in this match because I was so invested in the bloodline. So, all right, the next match was really this match already. I thought mine was okay. Anyway, I was like, oh, why? Finally, Alicia and I will be switching off, but that wasn't the case, as we know. AJ Styles and the OC featuring Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. Mia Yim's just pictured there, but she wasn't there because she just participated in the Brutal War Games match against Finn Balor and Judgment Day, featuring Dominic Mysterio and Damian Priest. Rhea Ripley's pictured there, but she wasn't part of the match because she was just part of the other side of the Brutal War Games. Well, Finn Balor took control early with his quick striking and stuff like that, and kind of like taunting and knowing how AJ mindset is because they're best friends forever, or so they say, or so the storyline is, which is true. But I'm just saying, like, that's what they were getting at in the story. Like, I know you should be with me, and the other guy's like, you should be with me, kind of thing. Like in our faction, in each other's factions, kind of thing. And Finn Balor saying like, I'm the one who started the OC, not you. So it's actually my group, not your group. But anyway, Balor gained early control, and then finally, AJ was able to wrestle the control away from him using a move that where Balor's leg got chopped on the rope, and AJ injured it, and that injury would be going on for the rest of the match. Like Finn really sold that injury. They both toppled to the outside and started fighting, and that's when I think Dominic came and hit or pulled. I think AJ was supposed to go for a flying forearm or something, and Dominic pulled AJ off the apron, and that sparked Gallows and Anderson to come over and chase Dominic, and then Priest joined the mix, and they all floated into the crowd and then back and all that kind of stuff, and they fought to the backstage area, and that basically they were out. So now it's just a one-on-one match between Balor and Styles, and Balor dominated a lot of the match despite his him taking like little breaks in action to like sell his knee injury. He pretty much dominated a lot of the match with a lot of good grappling and strikes. He did use some of AJ's moves against him as well. And then I think there's a point where Balor went for a DDT, but Styles reversed it into an elbow, and that still, despite that, Balor was able to get some more offense in and go for a coup de grace, but AJ got out of it, avoided it, and then put Balor into a calf crusher. Balor was about to tap out, but he got out of it, escaped out of it by slamming AJ's head to the mat. Why don't you just pin him? Also, I never think about that. Why don't they think of that? Like pin him. Like he was like going like smashing his head to the mat like this. He can just go like this and pin him, and their legs are already tied up, so it's hard for him to get out of the pin. So I mean, you take extra pain for a few seconds, but you'll win the match. Go figure. They didn't do that. Balor slammed AJ's head into the mat a bunch, and then that's how he got out of it. They did the exchanging of punches where the one side of the crowd goes "hoo" and the other one goes "ah, boo, ah" kind of thing, like for a while until Balor hit an enziguri which staggered AJ. He think that's when AJ hit the enziguri to stagger Balor, and then went for the phenomenal forearm which he hit, and then he got the 1, 2, 3 to win the match. So I'll let Delisha. What do you think of the match first before I go into how I felt about it?
Yeah, I thought the match was fine. I mean, it's right now I'm not as into the OC Judgment Day feud as of yeah. I'm like, it's not really clicking for me right now. But I guess pun intended, I guess. Um, but I thought the match was fine. I mean, it's AJ and Finn. Like they know each other so well, and two, they're not gonna put on a bad match. But overall, I just wasn't like into it because I'm not really into the feud with these two. But yeah, I thought it was fine. It wasn't my favorite match, but there wasn't like too much of it that I was like, this was a bad match. I couldn't say that. I just wasn't into. I'm not into the feud, so I'm not was like as invested. If that makes sense.
Yeah, so I think it's the same problem. Of course, they're gonna put on great matches, great wrestlers, but we expected that from AJ Nakamura back at WrestleMania, and we didn't get that. So this was definitely delivered better match than AJ Nakamura did at that WrestleMania where they main evented or so called main evented, whatever you want to call it. But I'm also not invested in this story either. Like I feel like the Bloodline's pretty much taken over all of wrestling storyline in unless you're a Mark and go for other brands and stuff like that, and have storylines there. But this kind of took over all of wrestling storylines. So like everything was foreshadowed or overshadowed by the Bloodline storyline, in my opinion. So like this is great match, great wrestlers, great match, and I'm glad that the OC and the Judgment Day fought to the back. That way, it allowed them to focus on the two superstars in the ring because that's what we needed. That was great, but like you said, like I'm not really invested in the story. It was cool when Mia Yim came back to support them to get their back for having a female. But does she have any connection to the OC? I don't know. I don't know the like that background story and stuff. But I don't think she has any connection to the OC. So would I have rather seen someone else come back that has a connection to Gallows, Anderson, or AJ? Yeah, that would have been cooler. But hey, they have to get Mia Yim back somehow, right? So,
But I don't know their career as much, but I don't even know who that would be, especially one that would get the crowd like, in, be like, oh, we know that person,
right.
type of deal.
This is where we need like a big time, a Joe or a Will or somebody or Slater to tell us who it would have been. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I was never really a fan of the OC to begin with, so I wouldn't have watched him anywhere else. So,
I don't know what the
'cause
OC is. I don't know what the OC is considered if it's just these three guys. But I'm fans of AJ obviously, and I'm fans of
yeah,
Finn Balor, but not like not the whole group of people that we're I don't know who we're
yeah,
talking about.
and also I think because this started in New Japan, where they don't on those shows they don't really I don't think they feature women, so there wouldn't have been any women like from their past
Mm,
to bring forth as far as like Bullet Club goes.
right.
Um, but yeah, but I could and yeah, because I stopped watching TNA a long time ago, and I don't watch ROH, so yeah, I wouldn't have known of any other people that they've had like run-ins with.
Yes.
Um,
Same
like
thing
because
for
Finn
me.
kind of adopted Rhea and Damian through taking out Edge, so that was kind of
Right.
already in place. Yeah. Yeah, and then I guess I mean Mia and Rhea have history, but it's more of a positive one because they were faces at the time that when they had matches together. So yeah, it's very interesting.
But yeah, so like it was a good match as we expected, but like story wise, what we care about most of the time. And this, I didn't really have any like who like they were great friends, but it happens, right? We see that tons of times in wrestling, so that's pretty much it. Good match, but didn't really matter at the end, like Lincoln Park. The next match was for the SmackDown Women's Championship featuring SmackDown Women's Champion Ronda Rousey against Shotzi. Is she just Shotzi or is she Shotzi Blackheart? I don't know. They change people's names.
No, it's still just Shotzi.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say since they properly paired Rhonda with Shayna as like her enforcer, I've been a little bit more intrigued about Rhonda in on my TV screen. Still wasn't gonna care about this match because you still have to perform in the ring, which Rhonda doesn't really do. But I like Shotzi, so I was like, all right, we'll see. And going in, I don't think anyone in the whole arena or who was ever watching this show thought that Shotzi had any iota of a chance of winning. Um, but they gave her a showcasing on the SmackDown that previous night of her like trying to be the ultimate underdog of overcoming adversity once they took out her friend slash tag partner Raquel. And they continued that story through this match with Shotzi being the I guess I guess the ultimate underdog. Yeah, I'll call it ultimate underdog of always fighting back no matter what Ronda was um given to her. And but unfortunately, she did have a few missteps going into this match. I think she like I don't know what the word is, but like she didn't miss the integer, but didn't like land as much. And then, but actually, now that I think about it, might have been on purpose because Ronda transitioned that into an ankle lock. So actually, might have been on purpose. Forget that. And then, but later on in the match, when I think Ronda had in the corner, she did like trip her up with the like tripping takedown and give her like a cannonball. And of course, with Shayna being ever present, you got to watch out for her. But she took care of that by doing like a little dive on out to the ring to try to take out Shayna, and then she would go and swing Ronda into the I think the steps and give her like a little splash from the top rope, which Ronda countered. I don't know what I couldn't call the move which she countered to because a little awkward. looking, but I'm kind of expecting that now in Ronda matches, so it's just like it is what it is at this point. And then after that, Ronda kind of just took control, putting her in different submissive holds, which Shotzi would continue to try to get out of. And then Shotzi went for, I want to say it was she was going for a springboard DDT that didn't quite land. Um, and then after that, they would she would dive onto Shayna and Ronda into the crowd, taking out some fans, which of course wasn't really fans; they were just like plants there to take the bump, so to speak. And and then when they would get back into the ring, Ronda got a it was like a judo throw from the top rope, and then put her into the Piper's Pit, and then into an armbar, which Shotzi would tap out to, giving Ronda the win. Like I said, no one expected Shotzi to be the one to take the title off Ronda. It was an okay match. It gave some, mainly the parts that I like of it was just Shotzi being like the underdog and fighting back, and doing all she can. But like as we know, when you got people in the ring, both people have to be committed into doing these moves. And when you have one who's, like I said, clunky and awkward like Ronda, it's a little hard. Like I think we said it last week. We can't think of anyone who she had good chemistry with in the ring. I guess the closest being Charlotte, but I think that's just Charlotte being good enough to sell things and make Ronda look like a big deal when, yeah, I don't know. I honestly, I at this point I don't know if she could get any better. I would like her to prove me wrong. I really would. I don't want her to fail. Like I don't want anyone to really fail in this business. Well, I take that back. There are some people, but um, like I want her to be good because I love the women's division. And I want it to always be great. But she is kind of like a honestly, and also I feel like anytime Ronda's in the picture, like creative feels like they have to give her the belt in order to make her like a big deal, which she doesn't. She's People already know her as Ronda Rousey, so like she doesn't really need the belt. And honestly, I would like to see the belt off of her and just keep her and Shayna as a tag team. And honestly, I think them two with the belts would do something decent because they also can cross brands with that and just cause chaos on both brands,
Mm.
being the dominant MMA fighters that they are. And I don't know, it's just Ronda's the champion or as a wrestler doesn't interest me, but if I think that if they would stop trying to give her the belt, she could focus on being something else because she doesn't seem like she's a locker room leader, not a really face of the SmackDown Women's division. So I feel like if you take that pressure off her and let her just like do something else, maybe she could focus on that and then more technique in the ring and maybe we'd be better off. But I don't know. I'm also not the booker you are, so you tell me, is there any way we could salvage a Ronda Rousey wrestling career
Yeah.
at this point?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for covering this match because I could not cover another Ronda Rousey match in a row. That was like four in a row. Thank God I love Liv Morgan, but being a Jersey native, but uh, Shotzi I couldn't care less about. Ronda, I can't cover another of her matches. To address your point, can she get better? Yes, she's a professional athlete. They have the ability to work on things. That's what they're conditioned to do, to repeatedly do something and get better, right? So she can get better if she cared enough. That's that main point you made. If she cared enough, she can get better. Yes. Is there anyone in the storyline that she can fight? No. I mean, not honestly. Besides Shayna, no, because Charlotte we've seen already. Like, so she'll probably end up fighting Charlotte or Becky. Probably not Becky because Becky's got her own thing on the other side. But she'll probably end up fighting the returning Charlotte and losing because that's what always happens. But Shayna would be the only other person, like, them fighting. But I'd like the idea rather to see them as a tag team and dominate the women's tag team division because that would make more sense of what's going on with her holding this women's SmackDown championship. It was better on Liv, even though people don't really enjoy that. Like, have Liv take a weird turn, kind of, that would have been good, and keep her as champion, and have Shayna and Ronda run roughshod on the thing. And, like, I don't know. And as for the match, I didn't even talk about the match yet because Alicia already covered that for like ad nauseum because we already gave it so much more time than it probably deserved. But very sloppy match. I felt bad for Shotzi because I think she really cares about it and loves it and stuff like that, and she didn't really get the shine. It's gonna probably look bad upon her, like she had a shot and she kind of like botched it, but she really didn't botch it. Like as you're saying, it takes two people to do the moves. But yeah, it was a very sloppy match. No interest in the storyline on this side as well as the other Raw women's side. At the moment, nothing is really piquing my interest, so I couldn't care less about these matches. All right, the next match was for the U.S. Championship, featuring the U.S. Champion Seth Rollins in a triple threat against Bobby Lashley and just Theory now, right? No Austin Theory, just Theory.
No, it's not Austin Theory.
Oh, still Austin Theory. Okay, well, yeah.
So yeah, now that's what I was very intrigued by because there were so many possibilities on how this could go on as far as like who would be winning, who would take the pin, like how's this for the storylines. Like I'm always like thinking of these things. But right off the back, as it should be, Lashley was showing his strength and advantage pretty much early on. Pretty much him and Rollins kept like chucking Theory. I'm just gonna say it just for namesake. Theory out of the ring so it could just be like one on one. Um, Pretty similar to. Never mind. That would take me on a tangent. But uh, but then I remember um, Lashley, sorry, will go on to like spear them both while using Theory as a battering ram onto Rollins, and then but like a few moments later, Rollins would regain his control by doing like a running knee off the ring apron, and Theory would finally get his licks in by using the steel steps on both of them because it's triple threat, no DQ. And then again, like Theory was like I said, getting back into control, and you could see it visibly doing. He's been doing like some good like face acting, as you can see as he continued was like getting these two, getting his better control of the match. He would get more egotistical, more cocky throughout the match. And I thought that was like really good, like minute details that he was doing in the ring. And but his continued taunting to Rollins would like rev him up, of course, and then he would take over with like some strikes and I think it's what's it called, sling blade, I think they call it. Um, and then he would Rollins. I guess technically he could be considered the like high flyer of the match because he's the one more likely to go to the top rope, and he did that multiple times with dives onto Lashley and to Theory, and then doing like a springboard onto, I think it was Theory, it might have been. Sorry. And then Rollins looked like he's about to win the match by giving Theory a curb stomp, but I think when Lashley like yanked him out of the way. Although I don't know why I just would have let him do it and then just like went after Rollins, but that was like small little like logic. Like why would you put him out the way? Let him get curb stomped. But and then he would give. Sorry, I must have to clean my room or something because it's dusty in here. And then oh sorry, Lashley would go and try to put the hurt lock onto Rollins, but then Theory would intervene, getting onto Lashley's back, put him in a sleeper hold, and then which I think they got like them down on the floor because he tried to roll Lashley up while he was in the submission, but it was interrupted by frog splash from Rollins, and then I think Lashley tried to put the hurt lock on both Theory and Rollins at the same time. I thought that was pretty funny. I kind of wanted to see it fully happen, and then I don't know what would happen. I mean, if how effective it would have been with getting them both in the hurt lock, but I just thought it was funny. um, but in the final moments of the match, you kind of got this cool like spot where it looked like Rollins was gonna hit Theory with the curse out, but he actually leapt leapfrog off of Theory and gave the curse out to Lashley. Then okay, no, I'm not gonna sneeze. And then Lashley hit Steph with a spear while Rollins was in the middle of giving Theory the Falcon Arrow, which gave Theory the wherewithal to roll over onto Rollins to get the 3 count. And I actually thought this was a really good match. I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't sure how it was gonna go because I feel like storyline wise, each of them had a claim, or right, like creative wise, had a claim to like winning the title and how this could move the story further along. To all the people who thought that they was really going to dismiss Theory, you must not know Triple H and how much he loves long term storybooking. Like there was a whole actual arc for this character, kind of almost like rehabbing a little bit from the not Goofy, but the I don't know, kind of like almost like lackluster stuffy taking theory that they turned him into during Vince's reign into a more like serious I can get the job done theory by bringing him down to ground zero and building him back up. And I think the fans really got to like appreciate him in this match. Of course, I know him from watching him on NXT and a couple like independent matches. I mean, independent promotions of when I would see him like on those. And like there's a reason why he was a here because he's actually really good. But I think this would be kind of like another full circle theory, getting his groove back, so to speak, by getting his title back and kind of stole one from Lashley because it was like Lashley's work that got him to spin stuff. So these three are still kind of in the mix with each other. We do well. There, like we got some time up into the Rumble to kind of play around with that. He might even have a new challenger by then. I mean, he might not even be the champion by then. We don't know. But I do think this was either I could have gone this either way, so I'm not mad at any outcome we would have had, whether it been Lashley, Steph, or Theory taking a win. But I do think they put on a really good match, and I think sometimes on paper you may not think these three will have good chemistry, but they do. And I really did enjoy this match. How about you?
Yeah, so I did like the story. This is one of the stories I did like going into the evening. And I was kind of like torn. Like, what, are they gonna have a good match? Do I care about enough to have like it's gonna be a good match or is not? And like surprisingly, I did enjoy the story. And the match was good and bad. Like as most matches go, there were some really good high. My favorite part was the spot. I was gonna say spot and part, but it came out pot. My favorite so I was like from Boston. Hey, it was in Boston. It's a pot. Anyway, my favorite spot was the when uh, the double hurt lock. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was really great. The curb stomp part with the leapfrog curb stomp was pretty cool too. But I did love the double hurt lock. I really like that. Theory winning. It does bring his little mojo back kind of thing. But I don't know what's gonna do. What this is gonna do for Rollins. We could see Lashley versus Theory. Wait, because who got pinned? Was it Rollins that got pinned? Do you remember?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was wrong.
yeah, so that means Lashley could say like he never lost and him fight Theory 1-on-1. And then Theory can cement his legacy as the US champion by defeating Lashley 1-on-1 at Royal Rumble or whatever the next pay-per-view is. But Rollins it's kind of I think like this is gonna free up Rollins. As much as he loves the US title, he's kind of like holding as a placeholder for somebody. And that's what I feel like. And this kind of frees him up. Would I love to see a triple threat match again? Yes, but I think that'd be too much again, right? Like too soon, too much. Maybe down in the future, yes, but I think this is going to free up Rollins, and we're going to see Austin Theory versus Bobby Lashley again, and I'd love to see that. I'm liking the story. I'm liking the chemistry between all of them, but I think this is going to free up Rollins for a bigger picture. Maybe make one last shot at Roman Reigns prior to WrestleMania if he holds on to the championship. But I think this might free up a little time for Rollins to do something. But Theory winning, that's great. Have Lashley keep going for the title one more time. I'd love to see that. But great match. I thought it was great. I loved like a lot of spots. Like I said, the leapfrog curb stop and the double hurt lock was probably my favorite part. But overall, great match. Maybe match of the night, possibly. If it's hard competing against a War Games match. But if it was just all like regular matches, this probably would have gotten match of the night in my eyes. If it was just all regular matches, if they were traditional Survivor Series matches as opposed to War Games matches, this probably would have got match of the night for me. But it's hard to compete against War Games. Speaking of War Games, we bring out to the bookend, as Alicia says, the final match of the evening, the main event, which is another War Games match. And the card is the Bloodline with Sami Zayn at the moment, or Sami Uso, however you want to say it. Sort of, we'll see. Because if you know anything about the storyline leading up, which I actually watched, because I'm invested in the storyline when I actually watch the promo packages or I watch SmackDown and know what's going on. So that goes to show you, if it's not like, when it's Alexa Bliss, like I usually stop to watch it, or somebody I care about, like The Rock or anybody, but I actually watch all of them and I actually fast forward through Alexa Bliss's storylines up to this point. So those, the only people I've been watching lately are the Bray Wyatt storylines, who wasn't featured here at all. I don't remember him seeing anything of Bray Wyatt. And I've been watching the Bloodline storylines. So welcome Skye and welcome Ayrton as well. Thank you guys for joining us. Against the Brawling Brutes and Friends, the Friends being Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens. So I forgot, I don't think we mentioned actually how a War Games match is featured. So some of the new people who don't know what a War Games match is, there are two teams. A member from each team starts the match. And then after the first 3 minutes, another member joins their team, depending on who has the advantage. The advantage is determined ahead of time. Used to be by a coin flip back in the day for WCW War Games, but now they have the match either the night before or the week before, or however you want to say it is. And whichever teams wins the match, they get the advantage for War Games, meaning they get the next member in, so they'll always have a man advantage. They'll have the man advantage throughout the War Games. So prior to the match, I think it was it Sheamus that defeated Jey Uso or one of the Usos, something like that, on SmackDown, which gave the Brawling Brutes the advantage. So the match started out with, I believe, Butch and Jey Uso. Yeah, Butch and Jey Uso, and basically Butch dominated Jey Uso, which was kind of weird to see. But him being, Pete Dunne, as we love to call him, the bruiserweight and the master of joint manipulation, he pretty much wrecked Jey Uso's hands, which is already taped up prior to this. So, sorry. Well, I'll get into that in a second. And basically, Butch dominated until the next member to come in was, I think, Ridge Holland, right? Ridge Holland. So it was a Brawling Brutes tag team against Jey Uso by himself. So he's basically being dominated even longer, already adding insult or injury to insult. There were moments that Jay got the upper hand when he was alone with Butch by slamming him into the cage, but mostly Butch dominated, and then Ridge Holland came. Jay gained that advantage right before, gained that momentum right before the Brawling Brutes got the advantage by Ridge Holland coming in and then being a 2-on-1 against Jey Uso. Then they destroyed Jey Uso even more until the timer hit. So every 2 minutes after that, the next member comes in. This time, it was supposed to be Jimmy Uso, so it'd be the Usos against the Brawling Brutes, but Roman stopped Jimmy from going in and told Sammy to go in to help Jey Uso. Why? Because if you haven't been watching for the past few weeks, Jay and Sammy have had a lot of tension leading up to this thing, because Sammy has been wanting to become an Uso so badly, and Jay doesn't believe that he's an Uso, and that was further exacerbated. Their relationship was further exacerbated by SmackDown, where Sami Zayn met with Owens right before he walked into the Usos locker, or the Bloodline locker room, and it was overheard by Jey Uso, and Jay went and told Roman Reigns about it, and because Sammy lied to Jay about meeting with Kevin Owens, and then at the beginning of the pay-per-view, Sammy came clean to Roman Reigns and said, "Hey, yeah, I did meet with Kevin Owens, but trust me, I'm loyal to you guys." Anyway, Sammy came in and helped Jay, and really helped Jay by pulling him out of the way of getting slammed into the cage and such. But Jay still did not feel any love for Sami Zayn, or Sammy Uso, whatever you want to call him. But the funny thing is, if you have been watching all the coming weeks, Sammy has gotten these guys to break character time after time after time in his promos, because the Usos and even Roman Reigns, the only two people who can actually keep their cool when Sami Zayn is going off the rails with his commentary and promos is Solo Sikoa and Paul Heyman. Consummate professionals, both of them. I mean, they're all consummate professionals, but they're the only ones, like Solo Sikoa. I think his face is just stuck like that. I don't think I've ever seen him smile. I think his face is stuck just like Samoa Joe, like this. That's all. Heyman's been in the business for years. He could do anything. He kept a straight face the whole time. The amount of times you see the Usos or Roman look like this and smile, or cover their face and smile, is because Sami Zayn is making them break character and laugh just by his antics. Anyway, as many times as Sammy's trying to help out Jay doesn't want any help. But regardless, Sammy kept helping Jay. Much to Jay's dismay, Sammy kept helping Jay. So they were able to even up the odds for a while until the next man advantage for the Brawling Brutes, which was Drew McIntyre, came in and basically destroyed Uso and Jey Uso and Sami Zayn by throwing Jey into the cage and just beating the hell out of Sami Zayn. They tried to come back and rally something. Bloodline tried to come back and rally something, but McIntyre is too strong. He overpowered both Uso and Zayn and hit them with a Future Shock DDT. Finally, Jimmy Uso was able to come into the ring, and he brought in tables, and I think Zayn. This also caused Zayn to get mad, like say, "I'm going to help set up the table," but Jay got mad at that, which is kind of stupid. They started pushing each other during this point, and Jimmy's trying to break them up, like, "Hey, you guys shouldn't be fighting. We're in a match against real opponents. We don't need to fight each other amongst ourselves." That was basically what chewed up a lot of the clock at that point. Then Kevin Owens came in, brought in chairs, and started attacking both Uso and Zayn. And then he hit a cannonball on, I think, one of the Usos, or was it Zayn? I can't remember. Hit a senton off the top, and then he put Jimmy through one of the tables with a sidewalk slam or side slam, whatever you want to call it. There's always different names for it by whoever says it. Finally, the Bloodline's enforcer, so it's Lakoa, straight face, straight lace, whatever you want to call him, came in and did what he does because he's the enforcer of the Bloodline. He beat up Holland. He beat up Butch. He started beating up Kevin Owens. The one bad part about him, he doesn't hit his slap on his thigh for his super kicks as well as his older brother. I guess there's his older brothers, right? Older brothers, Jimmy and Jay do. They're very crisp with their super kicks. Solo is not, unfortunately. But he did hit a back body drop onto the steel between the two rings on Kevin Owens, which was nice to see. Then the team captain, Sheamus, entered the ring for the Brawling Brutes, which was the final member. And, Sheamus being Sheamus, loves to fight, came out and just beat the crap out of everybody in the Bloodline, and then hit a white noise on Solo Sikoa from the second rope, not the top rope, the second rope. Then this allowed the head of the table, after all that time of after all that time of Sheamus dominating, this allowed the clock to run down, and the final member of the match, the head of the table, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, comes into the ring, walking still slow and deliberately. His team's in trouble, but at this point, the Brawling Brutes and friends are laying on their side of the ring, on one ring, as this always happens, and the Bloodlines on the other side, 4 members of the Bloodline on the other side of the ring, as it always happens. And Roman Reigns slowly walks into the ring, gets his team up, the other team gets up, and they have the face-off. Because that's how it always happens when the match officially starts, because the match cannot officially start until all 5 members from each team are in the ring. The bell rings. Now it can be a pinfall or a submission to win the match. So when that happens, you would expect Roman Reigns to start cleaning up, but no, he actually looked kind of weak if you think about it. He was starting to get beaten up by everybody. And then Sheamus took advantage. Sheamus got him trapped in between the two rings and was about to go for the beats of Bodran, whatever it's called. But Roman Reigns fought out of it until Drew McIntyre came, helped him out by holding his other arm. And as Sheamus was about to go for it, the rest of the Bloodline came in, but that's when the rest of the Brawling Brutes and friends came in. And they got all the Bloodline into the middle between the two rings. And then every member of the Brawling Brutes and friends hit the beats of Bodran about 10 to 25 times, depending on who was hitting whom. And that was a really cool moment to see, because the fans are actually, for once, the fans were actually counting right. Because when Cesaro does a giant swing, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Even though he's in this third revolution, they're already on number 10. So they never count right. But for that beats, they actually counted right, and I was so proud of them. A very educated Boston at this point. So that was nice to see. After that happened, Sheamus went for hit Solo Sikoa with a brogue kick, but when he turned around, he got speared by Roman Reigns. Then went for the pin. Roman, someone's gonna break up a pin, because Roman went for the pin, but someone's gonna break it up when the camera's so tight on the pin. Someone's gonna jump off camera, which happened to be Butch. Butch jumped from off camera. Then the Usos hit the stereo super kicks, as they call it, on Ridge Holland, and then Reigns followed the spear. Winter is coming. Whoa! What the hell? Oh, okay, that was weird. Anyway, sorry, I got someone subscribed, I think, or something. But thank you for whoever that was. Welcome to the Kingsman. But yeah. So then, what happened after that? I lost my train of thought when that happened. Oh yeah. Now I can't remember. Oh, the spear happened to the table. Then Solo Sikoa hit that spinning whatever it's called onto McIntyre, so they were out of the match. But he got stunned by Owens, um, which basically left Owens face to face with Roman Reigns. Everyone else was pretty much out of the match at this point, sort of out of the match at the point. Um, they Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens have history from like 2 years ago when Roman Reigns was first champion. Owens was one of his first challengers, but he wasn't able to beat him, as you know, because Roman is still champion from 2 years ago. They kept exchanging like either a Superman punch or a spear or whatever. They kept exchanging their finishing moves. Owens went for a stunner, but Reigns reversed it. Reigns went for like a Superman punch or a spear, and Owens reversed. They kept reversing each other's finishing moves until Owens had a pop-up powerbomb on Roman Reigns. Then he followed out with a stunner and got what to pin Reigns. The ref went 1, 2, and as he went down for 3, Sami Zayn grabbed the ref's arm and prevented the 3 count, and which this caused Owens to turn around and look at Zayn, and Zayn's just looking at him. There's no really words exchanged. They're just looking at each other. He's still holding onto the referee's arm like it matters. That just broke the pin. Why are you still holding the referee's arm? They're just looking at each other for a while. Then Owens and Zayn get up face to face and look at each other and start arguing. And Owens says, "This is your family. I'm your family. Like that's not your family. You're gonna call this your family." And as he kept saying that, I think Jimmy Uso came in for a super kick, but Owens caught his leg. And as he caught his leg and looked at Jimmy, Sammy went for the low blow, hit the low blow on Owens, and then Owens fell to the turnbuckle. Sammy went over to Roman and said, "I'm going to do this for us. You know, I am loyal." He hit the hell of a kick, whatever you call it, on Owens. Owens fell into his arms, and he looked at him. At this point, you see Jay crawling up the turnbuckle on the side. Sami Zayn makes eye contact with Jay, throws Owens down for like a perfect, like laying him on the ground, and says, "It's all yours" to Jay. Jay hits a big splash, gets the 1, 2, 3 in the blood and victorious. And at that point, that's when Jay gets up and hugs Sami Zayn. The fans go crazy because now he's officially an honorary Uso, and the Bloodline has defended their honor and their name and are now the winners of War Games. So it was quite a lot of matches, a lot of high points, but you know that's what it's expected from the main event. Did deliver for you as well, Delisha.
Absolutely. This was my favorite match of the night. I'm just gonna I'm still debating whether it's the high point, but it was my favorite match to watch of the night. I guess because of the whole bloodline storyline, like we said earlier, it's permeated all throughout WWE. And it literally is the best storyline in wrestling, period, right now. Come at me, I don't care. It is. Um, and uh I but also like Roman is still playing chess here. Like this is literally like Game of Thrones level machinations going on. Cause like I don't know if you caught it, but earlier when he was talking to Sammy, like he like smiled at Sammy like everything's cool, but as soon as he went to hug him,
Yeah.
that smile disappeared. And I guess you could also write it as that he still was unsure on Sammy's loyalty, and now he's not. But I don't know, guys. There is still a lot of machinations to play. There's it as what my friend Shug in the chat was saying. We still don't know like if it's the Sammy could still turn or I honestly think it is gonna be the bloodline turning on Sammy. But like each layer that they're placing, when that comes, it is still gonna be so devastating. And Sammy is gonna become like the ultimate babyface at that moment, and it's gonna be like it's gonna be a great moment and a great um tie up or next chapter for wherever we're going with this. And I just really love the match. This is like the epitome of what War Games is about. It's uh and I think what was great about it is because it was storyline driven. It wasn't, hey, it's War Games time. We need to throw some people together and put in a cage. They did also try to back at NXT try to make it um some storyline progression as well. Or it wasn't your Survivor Series match where it's like, we're Team Raw, we're Team SmackDown. I was like, but you guys just hated each other like a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really great to have that aspect this year, and all these guys. I mean, no surprise that they brought it. I don't know why seeing Roman sit in the chair in the cage was so funny to me. I didn't see, I didn't know if it was already there when they came out, or if like Heyman just like slipped it in there because it like turned away, and all of a sudden I was like, where did that chair come from? I was like, of course, he's the only one who would be able to sit down in the chair, and the fact that also Heyman was able to hold those belts throughout that whole match on his shoulders. Kudos to Heyman putting in that work, I guess. But yeah, I do think that this was like a really great match. And again, like you said, great storytelling. Like every one of these guys had a problem with the bloodline of some sort, and you can see why they would come together to try to take them down. And going forward, I really do think we would get a banger of a match of seeing Sheamus and Roman be like the next little mini feud before we get into Mania season. It would, I mean, we don't, of course don't think he's gonna win, and it would be like kind of like another big match blown for like Sheamus, so to speak, after the Gunther match. But he is kind of like still over right now, and I feel like his character could afford that loss. And honestly, he's going up against Roman Reigns, so like no one's going to be like expecting it. They just want to see a great match at this point until we get to kind of like the meat and bones of the end of this Roman as champion era. Uh, yeah, as we lead up into WrestleMania, there's so many like twists and turns that we can do with either with the Bloodline story and with like other people on the card from Raw and SmackDown that it's really interesting. Like I'm always excited for like Rumble and Mania, but like this time I'm like really excited for Rumble and Mania to see what we are gonna come up with.
Yeah, so Shug in the chat said that Sammy might, cause Cody to win the Rumble, and that will be why the Bloodline turns on him. I really think that my storyline, like not to brag or to my own horn, but I think my storyline with Sammy, had he won Money in the Bank, that would have been an ever hanging fruit to be used. Because I think it was wasted on Theory, like with him catching on. Even though it made a great storyline for them, I think it would have been even better. Not that the storyline needed it, but that little extra like like thing, like like the little like seasoning on the perfect dish kind of thing. Like if he was the Money in the Bank champion, it was like it works either way. Like they're afraid that they don't trust him, but they gotta kind of keep him close because keep your friends close, but your enemies closer because he's got that Money in the Bank type shape, contract that he can cash in on Roman at any time he wants. If Sammy had won Money in the Bank, that would have been, I think, perfect because that's what it could have been like. There's moments where like he's so loyal, but then when you see the bloodline starting to turn on him, he kind of looks at his Money in the Bank contract and is like, should I use this? Should I, like kind of thing like that? Like, and the fans are like, go, go, go. But like, the first few times he won't use it. And he'll be like, see, I was loyal. Like, Roman will be laid out and he'll be like, not using it. And everyone's saying him to use it. And he like thinks about it. But he goes, no, I'm not using it. And that would have been like an extra little story thing that would have been so great. But obviously he did not win the Money in the Bank. People are saying eventually it's going to be Sammy that beats him. I wouldn't mind that, but there are bigger storylines in the mix with like the return of Cody Rhodes or The Rock kind of thing. Like The Rock doesn't need to be a championship match just to see that match as a big ticket match, no matter what. Kind of like Hogan versus Rock at WrestleMania, was it 17 or whatever it was. You don't need the championship involved, and it'll still be a great match. But yeah, so it could be like, it's hard because like whoever takes it away from Roman, they probably got to hold it for a little while because if it's someone like Cody that wins, yeah, if Cody wins, he's gonna have to hold it for a while, right? And if Sammy won, maybe the Bloodline will come right after him to get it back, but I think if he lost it, it kind of undo all the story that we've told this entire past year and a half or whatever it's been since. Well, I guess maybe half a year because it's with Sammy. It's been like half a year. I don't know. I just feel like you're right. There's so many ways this can go. It was story told very well, and like you said, like it is probably the best story going in wrestling. Period. I agree with that. So I am just as excited as you to see where this goes. and I will be watching Raw and SmackDowns probably or I guess they're on SmackDown, so I'm watching SmackDown for these guys.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like Rowan makes like maybe a monthly 5 minute appearance on Raw, and then he
yeah.
spends the rest of his time on SmackDown.
So we got the theory thing on that side of the thing for Raw, and then we got the Bloodline as well as Bray Wyatt on SmackDown, I believe. So uh, that's how I know I'm watching because I know who's on what brand. Actually, that's kind of weird. That's how I'm watching the actual
Yeah.
other shows.
I do think. Do you think they'll do? I don't know if they'll do it before Mania, but like after Mania, they'll do maybe they'll like either a shakeup or like a draft. Because while Raw has Steph kind of as like, I mean, he's pretty much a face. Like the fans keep cheering him, and he's got the blonde back in his hair, so that's kind of telling. But like, do you like Raw doesn't really have a premier like that's the guy, or gal, or that's the person
Yeah.
superstar on Raw. Whereas SmackDown, you have Roman or in of course the Bloodline, but really you focusing a lot on Roman,
Mhm.
and they have Bray Wyatt going on. But and then on the Raw side, yeah, you have Judgment Day, but they're kind of just getting back into their stride after losing Edge, or after like taking Edge out of the equation. And after that, you just have like Seth. We did have Lashley for a while when he was U.S. champion, when he was just being calling out people to have matches with. But there is no like marquee person on that brand. Um, and that I mean that is the downfall of having Roman have both titles. But again, as they've been trying to like uplift the rest of the roster in lieu of that. But yeah, I do think it is like I don't either some sort of shakeup, or even if it's just like a few people move them around here and there, and then because Raw is now, or has been for a while, the B show when it's supposed to be the A show,
Right.
but SmackDown clearly is the A show right now. That's where their big names are. That's where they're having the more dynamic storylines. It's on a bigger network, so it'd be interesting to see how um like they get so much done in 2 hours versus Raw elongated 3 hours.
Oh yeah, I think I think they have a lot more filler on Raw because it's 3 hours. That's the issue. What I think is going to happen is you'll have the return of Cody Rhodes, who's probably going to be a Raw superstar. Did Cena and Theory fight yet, or is that just like a making thing in the making?
Oh no.
They did not fight yet. So that Cena coming back to Raw would be another thing for Cena versus um you know Theory. So and then like Brock will probably be floating around kind of thing. But yeah, I think Cena coming back, Cody coming back, maybe The Rock coming back. But Rock will probably go to SmackDown or whatever. But whatever it is, who knows? He'll probably be on both shows because they gotta get that money. But Cody and Cena coming back, I think will go to the Raw side. And there was one more person I was thinking about, and I can't really remember now who it was. Oh, maybe I would love to see the Miz of it. Not that I kind of don't really remember what show he's on, but I think he's on Raw because it's gonna be with Dexter Lumis
Yeah.
tonight. I'd love to see the Miz elevated again. I mean, now that he's feuding with Dexter Lumis is kind of stupid. I'm not enjoying it. I mean, it's funny, but I've had enough. It's gone on for too long.
I'm gonna say, yeah, that's it's only because it's gone on too long.
Yeah,
That's really what it is.
yeah. So I'd love to see the Miz elevated, but Cody coming back, Cena coming back, that could bolster Raw.
I'm gonna say, yeah, you're right. I think Cody coming back, he's gonna be a face, and I do think he could be that mark, especially if he is the one to dethrone Roman Reigns. That will shift the dynamic. I guess he could say he would also still be on both brands because he's both anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, he would be that marquee guy. Hopefully at Rumble. I mean, we really don't know. We you never know when it comes to injury stuff. Like we thought Randy would be back soon, but he's
Oh yeah.
signed up the surgery,
There you
and
go, Randy.
that's now prolonged. Not that I think he was going to be the marquee guy on
Right,
Raw,
but yeah, but or even a CM Punk maybe. Who knows? We'll see.
yeah, please no, no, I,
That will bring us to our finishers, which will be our low points, our high points, and our overall grade of the pay per view. We'll start with Alicia first. Go ahead.
yeah. I think the low point, probably no surprise, and as usual, it just has to be, just given the card, it has to be Ronda and Shotzi. Mainly because no Skye, no. They said they should Miz should be the one to dethrone Roman. Like I love the
Exactly.
Miz.
A lit.
Like
Exactly.
no, not this time, not
Yeah.
this time. Although it now that when he won the title before, we had that disappointed girl. Bring her back to get a whole another meme out of it. But yeah, below point was Shotzi Ronda, mainly because Ronda just lacks chemistry with everyone, even her own so-called like best friend. Um, but and the high point, which is probably another surprise given how excited I was, I have to give it to the men's working match because it delivered in everything that it was supposed to be. It is the um I don't want to say gimmick. It is the like marquee name of the show. And if you can't, as we said on when we have, I guess I will say when we have these game matches like Chamber and Hell in Cell, like those matches they have to perform because it is the namesake of the show. And I think both of them performed really great. But the men's matches had a lot more going for it for me. And overall, I think I'm gonna give this pay per view a minus. Just for that namesake alone, like the namesake of the show, those two matches delivered, and then the matches in between, um, like they all had good things you can say about it. Like, yeah, I didn't really care for Ron Chelsea, but there were some points in there I could point out like I like that. So yeah, overall, really enjoyed the show, and I'm excited to see these next 2 months, month and a half. I don't know math about weeks, so I don't know how actual long we have until the Royal
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
end of January. Um, I forget where it is.
yeah.
Atlanta? No.
That's what I was about to get into. Yeah, so yeah, we actually have 2 months until the next time they'll see us. But because but I'll get into more of that in a second. But for me, the low point, we're pretty much on the same page. The Ronda Shotzi match, unfortunately, or fortunately, that we knew it was gonna be the worst match, so I'm glad it was our low point, right? High point was obviously the Bloodline War Games match, the storyline, the storytelling, the great wrestling involved, the great spots involved. Overall grade, I'm gonna give it a B plus. Basically, all the matches pretty much got an A for the most part, except for Shotzi, the Shotzi and Ronda match. So you had 4 5.0s and one 0.0 or 1.0. It averages out to a B plus if you do the math. I think it comes up to like a 4.75 or something, which is a B plus in my eyes. Anyway, um, yeah, that's pretty much it for the grades and all that. But Delisha, where can we find you and any other things to announce?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and on YouTube at Delisha Renee TV. Latest vlog is out on the channel, and then I have another video dropping on Wednesday. In case you don't know, I'm doing every other week of like lifestyle vlogs of motherhood and just life in general. So give me a subscribe and a like if you feel so inclined. And of course, you'll see me here after every pay per view. Or
Uh,
I'm sorry, premium live
Lime of
event.
event PLEs. Yeah, and as always, all her links are in the description below, so please check her out. Skye gave the pay per view an overall B, which is a fair grade as well. I agree with
Yeah.
that. As for me here, I don't know if I'll be streaming any games anytime soon. Like I said, I'm only streaming games I want to enjoy and that I enjoy, but also I don't want to be spoiled. Like I know God of War just came out, but I didn't want. I know people. It's a big time game, and people tend to spoil it when you're streaming it. So I played it just by myself, and I got to play it all the time as opposed to when I stream it. I only get to play it while I'm streaming, so it's like 2 hours every other day kind of thing, and I'm not on the weekends. So it's a game that I wouldn't mind playing on stream. Is the next time you'll see me stream. I've been doing a lot of Genshin summon sessions. I'll probably be doing that next time I find a character that I want to do. So stay tuned to both our Twitters for that information. As for AfterMat, there's a lot of controversy on whether or not day one is going to be a pay per view or not. A lot of reports have been saying that
I'd watch that guy.
there's
I'd
going to be
watch that.
there's no more day one, but WWE has not officially announced it, even though they did say it's Survivor Series. What I've been told is, I didn't see any announcements, but I've been told that the Royal Rumble is the next pay per view according to WWE, based on that Survivor Series. So we'll go with that. So the next time you'll see us is on Aftermath following Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble itself is on Saturday, January 28th, 2023. And that means Aftermath will be on January 30th, 2023. So you won't see us for all of December, but stay tuned for our Twitters just in case. We have any uploads on YouTube or Twitch or anything, or Twitch live streams, whatever. Make sure you check us out there. Until then, guys, have a happy holidays, have a happy New Year, and we'll see you after Royal Rumble. Remember, keep slamming the haters and be the champion of your dreams. We'll see you then.
Bye, guys.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll and we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands, and we'll grow